Hey guys, history behind the warrior, and today I'm going to be talking about Goro, pre-Mortal Kombat. Goro is around 2000 years old, and he is a Shokan, which is a half-human half-dragon hybrid. He is also the son of King Gorbak, making him a prince. Now due to his lineage, he does have a rather big ego, but he can back it up. This can be seen when Goro participates in the first Mortal Kombat tournament, in which he actually manages to defeat the Great Kung Lao. After killing the Great Kung Lao, he remains undefeated for 9 Mortal Kombat tournaments. Mortal Kombat. Outworld was on the verge of victory, only needing to win one more Mortal Kombat tournament to invade Earthrealm. Although Outworld had the advantage of winning 9 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments, they had no experience of facing a Shaolin monk quite like Liu Kang. Eventually Goro would face Liu Kang and push him to his limits. But in the end, it seemed that Liu Kang was too much for the Shokan warrior. After Outworld's defeat at the Mortal Kombat tournament, Shang Tsung's island began to crumble. During its destruction, Goro would get into a fight with Kano, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade before disappearing. He was believed by many to be dead. Mortal Kombat 4. After Shao Kahn's defeat by Liu Kang, Goro would resurface. Despite his humiliating loss to Liu Kang, Goro began to take an interest into his race. He would do this by joining his fellow Shokan in the war against the Centaurians. The two races would fight each other until Princess Kitana intervened and negotiated a peace treaty between the two. During the negotiations, Kung Lao would appear and challenge Goro to Mortal Kombat, as he wanted to avenge his predecessor, the Great Kung Lao. The battle would be fierce, with Kung Lao slashing Goro's chest, leaving a scar in it. This was considered a ceremonial blow, and Kung Lao considered the score settled between the two. After Shinnok's defeat, Goro would continue his partnership with both the Centaurians and the Edenians. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Many years later, the united forces of the Edenians and the Shokan army marched on Shao Kahn's fortress. During the battle, Goro would be struck from behind by Noob Saibot, mortally wounding the Shokan and leaving him for dead. Goro would however be saved by Shao Kahn, who had faked his own death by the hands of the Deadly Alliance. Shao Kahn would promise Goro to return the Shokans back to their former glory and banish the Centaurians in exchange for his allegiance. Due to him now being in debt to Shao Kahn, he agreed to his terms. Goro would return to the battlefield and find a disfigured Shokan and place his royal seal on it, making them believe that he did die in the battle. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Goro alongside Shang Tsung would aid in gaining Shao Kahn his throne once more. During the conquest mode of the game, Goro would confront Taven in Shao Kahn's fortress. The Edenian demigod wished to kill Quan Chi, but in order to do so he would have to fight Goro first. The Edenian was able to defeat Goro, who then stormed off, telling Taven that the next time they met he wouldn't be so lucky. He's next seen during the Battle of Armageddon fighting on the forces of darkness. He is however killed, much like everyone else during the battle. Mortal Kombat 9. During the events of the new timeline, not much changes about Goro. He still has won 9 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments. However, in this timeline, Goro seems to be Shao Kahn's right-hand man, as he is seen during a flashback in the Mortal Kombat X comic book, in which he is aiding Shao Kahn in enslaving the Oztecs. He also participates with Shao Kahn and Reiko in enslaving the Chitin. Goro is first seen in his lair during the events of the first Mortal Kombat tournament, where he confronts Liu Kang. Goro is happy to see that the Shaolin were finally able to create a warrior strong enough to fight him, but remarks that the Shaolin will be defeated regardless. Due to the Shokan underestimating the Shaolin, he is defeated by Liu Kang. This in turn ruins the 9 winning streak that Outworld has acquired. During the Kung Lao chapter of the game, Goro would appear, attempting to challenge Liu Kang, but he instead is challenged by Kung Lao, who manages to defeat the Shokan, avenging the death of his ancestor, the Great Kung Lao. After Goro's defeat, the two Shaolin begin to interrogate Goro, asking him of Kitana's whereabouts. Goro tells them that she is at the Colosseum, and begins taunting the two by saying she is no doubt being executed. This immediately angers Liu Kang, who knocks out the Shokan. Goro later appears during the Earthrealm invasion, where he is seen guarding Earthrealm prisoners alongside Kintaro and Kano. The three of them are then frozen by Cyber Sub-Zero, who free the Earthrealm prisoners, before fighting Goro and Kintaro, who are able to break free of the ice. Despite being outnumbered, the cyborg is able to defeat the two Shokan. Mortal Kombat comic. After Shao Kahn's defeat, Kotal Kahn has now risen and become the new Emperor of Outworld. Goro has now become the right-hand man of Kotal Kahn, and has been assigned a mission to slay Reiko and Melina, who are located in the Golden Desert. He is swayed to their side as they promise to restore the Shokan to their glory, in which he then vows to kill Kotal for them. After betraying Kotal, Goro discusses a strategy with Reiko to lure Kotal Kahn out, as well as his father. Kotal Ketz is lured into a trap by Reiko, in which rain then blocks out the sun, weakening the Oztecs as they draw their power from the sun. Kotal Ketz is then ambushed by Red Dragon mercenaries hired by Reiko, before he's finally confronted by Goro. Kotal Ketz declares Goro a traitor, and strikes him with Shao Kahn's Wrath Hammer, shattering several of his teeth but not enough to phase Goro. The two then have a bloody battle, beating each other into submission, until Goro smashes Kotal Ketz's head against a rock, phasing the Oztec. Goro then claims the Hammer of Shao Kahn for himself, and uses it to decapitate Ketz, killing him. It is not long after this that Kotal learns of Goro's betrayal and the death of his father. Kotal then confronts Goro, swearing to kill the Shokan for his betrayal. Goro attempts to use the same tactic from rain to block out the sun to render Kotal powerless. However, Kotal is smart and uses the sun rays to badly burn Rain, rendering him unconscious. Kotal was able to control this amount of power due to the deal he made with blood magic, making him extremely powerful and dangerous. The two then fight, with Goro gaining the upper hand for the most part of the fight. The Shokan Prince then mocks Kotal, telling him that Shao Kahn would never allow someone like him to be on the throne. Due to Goro's cocky attitude, this allows Kotal to gain the upper hand and rip off Goro's arms. After having all of his arms removed, he falls to his knees and begs Kotal to finish him. Kotal considers doing this before declining, declaring that it'd be an act of kindness, and this is forbidden by Shokan tradition, and this further enrages the humiliated prince. Goro is then next seen kneeling before his father in shame, telling Gorbak that he's an unworthy heir to the throne and that he should be executed. Gorbak refuses to do this and tells Goro that the Shokan will no longer suffer under the Oztec's feet. He then reveals to his son that he sent an army led by Kintaro to attack Kotal Kahn whilst he is weak. This would lead to the Battle of Zunkara, in which Gorbak would fail to kill Kotal and instead lose his own life. After his father's cremation, he is approached by Kintaro, who tells the prince that his injuries disqualify him from claiming the throne. Goro asks what would happen if he were to enter, and Kintaro warns him, reminding him that his father is no longer there to protect him. Goro then swears that he will return to claim the crown for himself, and departs. During his exile, Goro would study the Red Dragon lore of the Dragon King Onaga, and become interested in his power, as Goro possessed the powerful ability to regenerate his limbs. Goro would then travel to the Crimson Forest, where he would attempt to strike a deal with Dagon. Upon arriving, he would be mocked by several Red Dragon soldiers, calling him the Prince of Cripples. The prince then turns his sights on them, killing one of them and making his presence known. Goro then approaches Dagon, the demigod, and tells him that he has studied the lore of Onaga. Though Dagon is quickly able to understand his interest in the Dragon King, he asks the Shokan why he should help him, in which the prince then shows him his bargaining chip, a unconscious Kenshi Takahashi. And that's it for Goro's at the moment, guys. He doesn't really turn up in Mortal Kombat X, but does turn up as like a DLC character and a sub-boss of the tower. But he actually doesn't turn up in the game, which is kind of a shame, but it seems like they're doing a lot more with him in the comic books. Now, as always, guys, here's a preview for next week's episode. So yeah, you guys are going to get Baraka next week, and he was actually really heavily requested, so I figured I'd give you guys what you asked for. Also following this week, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on the second combat pack, which was revealed on the Friday, I believe. Anyway guys, please comment, like, subscribe, take care, and I will see you guys next time.